What's up, my lovely love bug goodies? Welcome back to your channel and to my kitchen. I'm about to make the recipe that you have asked for, how to make Jamaican authentic hominy corn porridge in your kitchen, fast, easy, and simple. This recipe is long awaited and overdue. I have one up from one long time ago, but guess what? Expired, honey. We are going to do an updated one and you are going to in fact love it. So as usual, if you're here watching me cooking this hominy corn porridge for your very first time, make sure that you have subscribed, goodie. If you have not already subscribed, feel free to do so. And then after you do that, you turn on your post notification settings so you will always be reminded whenever your girl uploads a brand new video. Let's get started.
You don't remember where you're coming from. You don't remember where you're coming from. Rastafari, why you turn your back on your brother when him need you? You don't remember the days when him feed you. You know when no obligation but you owe him some respect. All you need to do is just give him what you forget. Turn your back on your brother when.
Okay, sweet pea, let's get right into the recipe. Now, you are going to need your cornmeal, and when I say cornmeal, I mean cornmeal where you make refined cornmeal porridge, corn grain. Okay, that's what you need. The brand, as far as the brand is concerned, use any brand that you want that you see on the shelf, because in my opinion, goodie, they're all the same. They are all the same. You have to cook them until they're nice and tender. They're all the same. So go with whatever you can find. Now, I did use 2 cups to make the recipe. I only use 2 cups, but if you're making more than I am making, you might need a little bit more. However, remember, when you cook this corn grain, yeah, it does expand. It swell up, like massively swell up, real big. That's how corn is. Corn expands when heat touch it. Now, you want to make sure, boo, that you wash it nice and clean. You're going to check it really well, because sometimes you'll find little pebbles of stones and stuff in it. You don't want to be boiling your porridge and giving it to people to eat and them bite in your porridge and them bite down on a piece of rock and them teeth rock off and them walk and chat with people. No, we don't want nobody to talk about you, boo. So make sure that you check it, that there is no suspects into that thing. Now, when you get ready to wash it, you are going to do that using cold water only to give it a nice thorough wash, at least 2 times, because you want to make sure that that starch is no longer visible. It is gone, and you want to make sure that there's no hidden suspects inside of that thing, right? No, boo. Nice and clear water without any debris hiding around. Now, the smartest thing to do, goodie, is when you wash your corn and all of that, you want to sit it in some water and soak it overnight. If you know you're going to cook it the next day, you start the process from overnight. This porridge is a kind of porridge. See that's the brie right there. We're going to take those out. This porridge is one of those porridge that is kind of time consuming, but the end result is always amazing. This is an authentic porridge, but it does take steps. But the flavor from this porridge is undescribable, and it is worth the time. Yes, it is. Now, to get started, I have a pot on the fire and that water was already boiling, and I have at least 6 to 7 cups of water in the pot there, right? You go ahead and you add the corn in, right? And like I said before, it would have been better if I had soaked it, because the process would have been faster. However, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt into that water. That's all you are going to put thus far. You want to allow that corn to have flavor, so that's why you put the salt in. So when it starts to boil, it will already have flavor from the salt before you put anything on it. Now, To get this recipe to its authentic ways, you need a coconut. Coconut is a must. You cannot skip coconut, goodie. So you could use your frozen coconut, you could use a fresh coconut, you could use canned coconut, any kind of coconut except for the coconut we drink when you make cereal. We don't want that. No, don't do it. It won't have any flavor. I'm using my fresh coconut. You can use coconut powder, the powdered coconut. Use that. It's going to be good. Now your girl is going to go ahead and blend our coconut because I'm not trying to mash up my finger. I want my finger to look as good as possible until I reach 100-year-old, right? Now I did get about 5 cups total, but I will use 3 cups to get the recipe started. Right, so you need quite a bit of that coconut liquid for this porridge. So here I'm going ahead and I'm checking it, and it's already cooked about 80%. Right here, I think it's about an hour and 15 minutes into the process, and that is, see how it expanded? Yes, boo, it expand. Now, if I had soaked it overnight, it would have cooked in like an hour. That would have been tender in maybe less than an hour, but because I couldn't wait, I went ahead and just started whatever. Don't do it that way there. Now I went ahead and I poured in my coconut milk right there. I poured it in and gave it a good mix. Now it is starting to have the flavor of the coconut with that corn. It is already smelling some kind of way. It was already smelling good. So what I'm doing here, I'm just going to cover it up and I'm going to let it sit and just boil for about another 15 or so minutes. Now while it's doing that, I'm going to walk you through the ingredients where you're going to need to finish up your recipe. This right here is critical for the best tasting hominy corn porridge in your kitchen ever. Now you need bay leaves and you need cinnamon sticks. That is a must have, okay? Don't skip that, right? That's all. We can't substitute and we cannot skip. Now you need your nutmeg, half teaspoon of nutmeg, because you're going to walk you through this thing, I know, especially if you're making it for your first time. 1 tablespoon of cinnamon powder, and you're also going to need 1 more teaspoon of salt. Remember, you had 1 before. You're going to add 1 when you get ready to finish up the recipe. 2 tablespoons of vanilla. You could also add almond extract, but if you're going to add that, just go easy. A half teaspoon, that's all you need, an almond extract, because it's very strong. Now right here, that is going nicely. However, I did go back in and add 1 more cup of the coconut milk. Alright, remember I have 5 cups. You're going to need 5 cups. But I did add another cup. So total right there in that pot is 4 cups of coconut milk, right? And it is perfectly fine the way it is right there. You could add more to it. Make it your own. If you think it's not cooked tender, just go ahead and add more coconut milk. I don't like to add water because it's going to water down the flavor. So just add coconut milk or evaporated milk or whatever kind of milk, almond milk, whatever. So now I'm going in and I'm adding my flavors, which is my cinnamon sticks and my bay leaf. Now this is all you're going to put in the pot right now. You're going to go ahead, put that in, and you're going to cover it up for 15 minutes. Let it cook for 15 minutes on medium heat. So turn the heat down at this step. Now moving right along, we are going to need our thickening agent to thicken up the porridge. I sometimes use all-purpose flour, but I don't like to use all-purpose flour when I'm making this recipe unless I don't have anything else, and I go for that. Cornstarch is the best way to go. Now, if you don't have cornstarch, you might say, I only have tapioca starch. You could go ahead and use a tapioca starch. It is going to be just fine as well. It just have a slightly different texture from cornstarch, but you could go ahead and use it. I'm going to use my cornstarch though, alright? Now, I'm using half cup of the cornstarch, and I'm going to add 1 cup of the coconut milk. If you don't want to use coconut milk, you might say, I don't have any more coconut milk. You use your almond milk. You use whatever kind of milk that you choose to use. Evaporated milk is even going to make it more creamier, but I'm using 1 cup. So half cup of one and 1 cup of the other. Combine them together, and then we are going to pour it into the porridge, right? That's what we are going to do here. Now, I did go ahead and just dunk it all in, but I wouldn't recommend you dunking it all in. Go ahead and add a little at a time. That is the best way, just to make sure that you don't have lumpy porridge, because whatever you do, you want to make sure that you are spinning immediately. That is a trick to not having lumpy porridge. You have to spin up the thing, goody. Strong and we are saying, spin up the thing. Now, it is time to give it flavor. So we go in and we add our vanilla or cinnamon powder. We go in and we add the nutmeg as well, because we are talking flavor, right? Flavor. Then we go in and add that salt, 1 teaspoon, because you add 1 teaspoon earlier, and we combine all of that glory together. Now this is where you could add the almond extract. If you wanted to add almond extract, you could, but just a half teaspoon of the almond extract, because it is a very strong agent and it will really mess up the flavor of the porridge. So half a teaspoon is good if you want to go ahead and add it, but it's optional. I didn't add it here, but you can. Now that is looking so good. You want to make sure that your fire right here is on low to medium heat. Shut it up and just let it rest. Let it go ahead and bubble for a few minutes. But while it's doing that, we're going to talk about our sweetener. I'm going to add sweetened condensed milk, because that is what mama used when I was growing up, sweetened condensed milk. Now you might say, oh, I don't want to use sweetened condensed milk because that's too sweet. I don't want to have diabetes. Your kitchen is your kitchen, my kitchen is my kitchen. This is what I'm using, so in that order. All right, so now it is time to sweeten up this baby, and honey, it was smelling so good, rich and creamy. But make sure that you turn your heat off. Once you get ready to sweeten your porridge, shut it off, goody, shut off the heat, because if you sweeten any kind of porridge with the fire bubbling, you are going to have watery porridge. As soon as you put the lid on, it's going to turn into water. So I went ahead and I put my sweetened condensed milk in, and again, you could put whatever you want to add to it to sweeten it up, but this is the way that I'm rolling, right? Yep. And I went ahead and mixed it in, and on that low heat, on that no heat, not low, no heat, period. All right, here, while you're here watching me rambling, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, turn your post notification settings on. I always have good recipes here, good pop up all the way up. They're always good, right? Especially if you're learning and you're trying this thing for the first time, this is the way to go. Okay, while you're here doing all of that, go ahead and subscribe to my second channel, Life of Juliana, inspiration videos, Dollar Tree DIYs, vlogs and more. Whatever I feel like doing, that's what's happening over there. Now I have my vegan recipes on there, so go ahead, my vegan goodies, and subscribe. Show your girl some love, otherwise I am waiting, right? And thank you so much for loving me. I love you too. The porridge is ready, and you know something, I am ready to put this on the plate, because I haven't had this in a while. This is one of those recipes that I don't do very often, but when I do it, I indulge, because it does take time to make it, but it is worth the time, goody. It is worth the time. When I was growing up as a kid, this was one of my favorite recipes. Mama would make this on a Friday, and we would be so happy. Just the smell of the coconut that was coming out of that kitchen, we was ready to indulge. And I just thank my mother for showing me all these authentic cooking that she used to do in our kitchen. Just standing there watching her cooking, Thank you, Mama, and I love you. Now, goody, go ahead and share the recipes with friends and family. Tell them what's going on over here. Spread the word. Spread the word. Bring them over, goody, because it's always good recipes coming up over here. Now, while you're doing all of that, tell me what you would like to have me cooking next in my kitchen, right? Just go ahead and jot it down below and let me know, right? And I will definitely not. They might take a while to come, but they are coming. And yeah, remember, as always, from my kitchen to your kitchen. Enjoy! I'm going to let this cook for a good 30 minutes on medium heat. Cover it up nice and make it simmer. And when it's done simmer, it's time for we eat. So see you back in a few minutes.
So this is in with your foundation, full coverage, you know, like bam. And last but not least, the last thing I tend to go for in my makeup collection is this palette right here. Let me show you what this baby looks like. It has a whole bunch of concealers. I believe it's $10 for this palette.